I was very wrong about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Before this game actually came out, I really expressed my concerns about the fact that this is the first $70 Nintendo game. I was also a bit worried about the fact that the Nintendo Switch is kind of getting old. How big, how interesting, how good looking can a game actually be on a system that's still meant to be a handheld? Across the board, Tears of the Kingdom is a bigger game, it is a better game, and honestly, it's a more surprising game than even Breath of the Wild. But let's talk about that. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, this video is going to be completely spoiler-free. A lot of this gameplay is recorded from roughly my first 7 hours of the main mission, so it's not really going to expose any of the crazy big secrets or plot twists. Now, 7 hours of gameplay may sound long. It took me 50 hours to just finish the mainline stuff, and I was actually going pretty hardcore on this. There is seriously, easily over 100 hours of content, and that's just scratching the surface of Tears of the Kingdom. But I want to talk about the gameplay aspects of this and why this actually feels like a proper follow-up to already the biggest Zelda game. Breath of the Wild is obviously a masterpiece. It was a big, groundbreaking step forward in Zelda development. It was a game that had so much focus on your personal journey, the ability to go places, to craft stuff, to make your own special idea of Link's adventure. Whereas Tears of the Kingdom, the main reason this feels even better than that is because honestly, this new ability that you have access to called Ultrahand. I want to start things off by talking about these new skills we get because they are so freaking different that even after having spent so much time with it, I'm constantly learning new things. So there is essentially 3 major new skills we have in this game. There's Ultrahand, which is used to take pretty much any object in the environment and glue stuff together. So that means you can chop down trees and stick a bunch of logs together with a post and make a raft. Okay, stuff like that, pretty obvious. But then there's really peculiar stuff. Gluing a hook to a minecart and then putting a jet engine on it to make your own zip line. Being able to craft extra stuff like putting, an extra glider together and then riding it down a hill and coasting from one shrine to the next. Being able to actually solve problems in incredibly insane ways. I had times where clearly the game wanted me to walk around the side of a mountain, but instead I built a huge ramp and just ran straight up the side of it. I glued like 50 freaking trees together, put a bunch of platforms on it, and just raced up it in a car that I had constructed. Now, the Ultrahand is obviously the deepest part of this game. People are going to be using the new battery system to constantly do the most insane stuff possible. I especially like this when it comes to the new dungeons. Now, I don't want to show you too much of that stuff. I wasn't even going to mention the fact that there's dungeons, but now Nintendo themselves has confirmed it. In the dungeons, it's cool to sometimes figure out, all right, can I just glue an icicle to this switch and flip the lever before I'm technically supposed to? There is practically an infinite amount of freedom in Tears of the Kingdom, and that's just with Ultrahand. Now, the other 2 skills are a little bit different because they're much more situational. First off, there is Ascent. Anytime there is a ceiling above you, you can typically fly straight through it. This doesn't cost you any energy. It doesn't have any sort of cooldown. You can use it whenever you want. So a lot of times, if I was in a cave, a lot of times I'd pop up above just to see the top of a nearby mountain. If you're in a city, you can actually use it to get to upper floors. So you can just go straight into a shop or just actually check out higher levels of the area you're in. It's really interesting. And it kind of has to change the way you're picturing your current place. Like when I'm typically playing a game, I'm sitting there playing my Switch. I'm worried about what's directly in front of me, the problem or monster that's currently trying to devour my delicious eyeballs. Whereas now, I would actually find myself trying to imagine where I was at in a 3-dimensional space with the ceiling above me, going, okay, is it worth it to try and teleport to the top of this volcano or something? That's an interesting twist. Now, the other skill we have that is very situational is called recall. It's essentially time rewind. So if you see like a water wheel, you can make it go the opposite direction and get past that particular thing you're stuck on. But you can also do some pretty insane stuff, like if a piece of the giant floating islands fall down, you can use it. You can jump on it like a magical freaking elevator and just fly across a huge chunk of the map. There's also really cool times where I managed to do stuff like an enemy throws a rock at me. I would stop it in place in midair and then rewind time so it would go back and kill them with their own rock, with their own actual force. It feels cool, but it is more situational. Now, the final skill we have is something I used the least, but is fun, which is the talent for mergers. You can take objects and stick them together. A rock can be combined with like a spear to make a rock spear. If you're firing an arrow, you can put a bomb on the tip to make a bomb arrow. Now, this is fun particularly in combat because you can put like an ice elemental bit on the tip of an arrow and freeze somebody. Or sometimes it's really cool during the exploration because you can do stuff like put a little bit of, there's these things called bright blooms. They're like little tiny glowing flowers. You can put a bright bloom seed on your arrow, shoot it, and then where it lands, it will light up. It's very interesting, but it does feel even more situational than the other stuff is because, I mean, a lot of times you're not using merger a ton. It's made particularly for kind of turning the tide of battle when you already have the materials built up. Now, I like the fact that in Tears of the Kingdom, there are 3 separate maps. There's the original Hyrule map from Breath of the Wild, but with a lot of the locations either damaged, remixed, or flat out destroyed. There's the Sky Cities, which are the big temples up in the air that we get a chance to explore here and there. There's optional shrines, there's optional bosses, there's optional chests. There's a lot of stuff in the sky that, again, it really teaches you to keep looking everywhere, to keep trying to imagine what's above the clouds. And it's cool that whenever you're unlocking the map, you get these big, they're like basically mega springboards that shoot you literally like 50 miles into the sky. And then from there, you can, a lot of times, not only while you're uncovering the map, you can fly to a lot of these islands and discover some very mind-bending secrets. That's neat, but the final part of this is the depths. This feels very Dark Soulsy, but there is a huge underground network, like a massive super cave under the entirety of Hyrule, and while you're down there, a lot of the enemies you encounter, when they hurt you, you stay hurt. You actually get this thing that basically perma-damages you until you leave the depths. But the reward for braving these very dark areas is the best gear in the game, other than some like quest rewards. It's actually awesome. This game is just absolutely jaw-dropping. And the final thing I want to say is that everything feels so good. The combat, the ability to slow down time and get a headshot, going through all the different shrines. Shrines are like these mini dungeons. There's about 150 of them. All of them are incredibly fun. This game really is just better Breath of the Wild. And to me, honestly, I do believe they should have called this Breath of the Wild 2. I mean, the name Tears of the Kingdom fits with the story, which I'm not going to spoil, but I mean, Tears of the Kingdom is exactly what the heck is going on here. I just think this feels like such a direct continuation of Breath of the Wild. It does feel like Breath of the Wild 2 to me. Man, I just loved this game way more than I thought I was going to. It's just that freaking good. I like all the side quests, from helping snowboarders that are stuck in the ice, underground explorers that are trying to photograph rare flora and fauna, the fact that there's reporters that are tracking down magical urban legends of Hyrule. Every corner of this map, every corner of this game, every corner that you encounter is going to be your own individual story. A lot of these clips I'm showing are just random little tidbits because, seriously, I don't want to spoil a damn thing. This is a game you need to experience. If you have a Nintendo Switch and you're still playing it, pick it up. You're not going to regret it. This game is easily a 10 out of 10. Well, thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.